just surprised we even had it this morning.
I was kind of
Actually,
wondering myself, to be honest with you.
I didn't think we would.
Give me the thumbs up here. We'll get going. We're not. No hurry. Okay. It is 8:30. I call this meeting of the Riley County Commission to order. Please everybody join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, good morning, everybody. Sorry for a little bit late this morning and probably take a moment to apologize for all the technical issues that we had yesterday. Apparently it was something with Cox Communications and we're figuring all that out this morning. So last day of September, it came, it went, and rain finally. Yes. Finally, maybe my allergies will start to subside here. Yeah. So hopefully a little bit more rain over the next couple of days will be good. Looks like everything outside is starting to get parched a little bit. So, okay, so we'll go ahead and start with some public comments this morning. I see Julie's up on Zoom, so we'll start there. Julie, have an update?
All right, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, if I have a quick update. We've had 62 new cases and 139 new recoveries since last week. We're currently monitoring a total of 91 active cases. As of today, there are 4 COVID positive patients in the hospital, 2 in ICU. The good news is our percent positive has dropped from 5.71 to 3.61%. That gives us a 14-day average percent positive of 4.78%. All testing operations are still the same. We're still doing Tuesday and Thursday at the mall parking lot, and looking at October 11th for the start date of going all 5 days, all weekdays for at least probably through December. But as of right now, it's still Tuesdays and Thursdays in the mall parking lot, and that's for asymptomatic or symptomatic individuals. We are still doing symptomatic individuals here at the health department every weekday and on Saturdays from 9 to noon. And I will say on Saturdays, it's not only symptomatic individuals, but asymptomatic people can come through too, and we'll do a PCR test with them. Vaccinations, still doing vaccines here at the health department. We do have a booster clinic today. So those who are eligible are those who have received Pfizer for their first series, and they are 6 months out. And then there's other criteria like 65 and older or 18 and older with significant risk of COVID. So we do have more information on our website. We have, I believe, 7 or 8 people signed up for the clinic today. We didn't expect large numbers since we've mainly vaccinated with Moderna. We didn't start with Pfizer until mid-May. The hospital's doing all their employees. They did start with Pfizer, so they're doing all their employees next week. And we are helping out Meadowlark, the long-term care facilities. A lot of them have done Pfizer for their first series. So Meadowlark has reached out to us, and we are allocating some doses to them either this week or early next week. And then the only other update I have is for flu. We are busy planning for flu clinics for the month of October, which is tomorrow already. We do have our Oktoberfest that we're planning for October 21st. That will be at the Family and Child Resource Center in the West End Conference Room. We're not going to do a big activities like we usually do inside. Instead, we're still going to give out pumpkins and books, and we'll still have a photo booth, but that will be all outside. So we'll do vaccines inside, and then we'll have them. Hopefully the weather is nice so we can have some things outside. But that's a big enough space where we can get a lot of people in there to vaccinate safely. And then again, we'll have those other activities outside. We are planning on vaccinating Riley County employees on October 13th. So we do have a sign up out for that. And that's all I have right now.
Questions from anybody? No? The only thing I have, Julie, is there any indication of when the Moderna burst? I can't talk this morning.
Yeah.
That booster will actually come out, since I can't seem to get the words out.
Yeah, they haven't given us an estimate on time. They're still waiting on FDA approval, but other than that, I don't know. But we have our plan in place for when they do. But right now, we're just vaccinating with Pfizer.
Okay.
For the time being, We're looking at the end of October or early November for them to be approved for the kids' doses. And we do have dates set up with USD 383 to be able to vaccinate young kids at that time. But that's the only time I've been given. I don't have a time frame as far as when Moderna will be approved for boosters.
Okay. That's all I had. Okay. Thank you, Julie. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks.
Do we have any other public comments this morning? Everybody just quiet. Okay. I'll go ahead and close off public comment then, and we'll move on to commission comments. Commissioner McKinley.
Okay, after our meeting Monday, I attended the intergovernmental luncheon. Rich Fargo reviewed some of the upcoming elections, some of the details on how people register, where to vote and stuff. And then John also gave a presentation on the sales tax question that will be on the ballot. And the other attendees also updated what they were working on. Tuesday evening, gave a presentation on the sales tax question to the Raleigh City Council. Handed out the informational sheet we'd made up, and when we dropping it, some more off of them, they're going to keep some at the city office. And they were very supportive of the issue, and they're going to promote it. They're going to, anything we've been putting on Facebook, they're going to share onto their Facebook.
I saw that. I follow their page, and that was on
and
there.
I think John Ellerman was along there because I had left all my informational sheets at home. But luckily, John had brought some, so I got that taken care of.
You might have Cindy email them that digital copy so that they both, I have it, but both of them have it in case they need to print something.
Email the commissioners?
Yeah. I have it already. So yeah, she actually, Alice put it together first, but she put it together with two separate JPEGs. Cindy combined it so it's the front and back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a few in the
Yeah.
or
But if you're on the fly or something and
Right.
need them, and yeah, you'll have it.
That's it for me.
That's it for you. Okay. Commissioner
Okay,
Foki.
yeah, Monday I also attended the intergovernmental lunch meeting. And basically what the commission at least said. There were reports from all the government agencies, which I think is really important. So I think that meeting was a good one. Tuesday I worked on the presentation I'll be giving next week, a sales tax initiative. I have a couple set up for next week. And I had a meeting with our meal preparation group at my church, part of Common Table. We will be doing a partial opening of the dining room next month. But people are still not comfortable with going to serving in the dining room, so we're going to serve part. If people wanted to eat in the dining rooms, they'll just take their to-go boxes downstairs. And we have a clothing distribution all the time, so that will be going on as well. So Wednesday, spent a lot of time on the phone with Krista Rodriguez on the Flint Hills Regional Planning Board financial issues. She has moved to Texas and is working diligently to get things in order for the next director. She hopes to be replaced by the end of November. As yet, the board has not put out a request for an employee. So, but she's got there's a lot of issues going on right now, which we need to discuss about. When I have more information concerning the death that occurred in 2010 at the startup of the organization. I have a lot of questions on that, so we need to work on that. Anyway, that's all I have. So.
Okay, well, as the other two commissioners mentioned, we had an intergovernmental meeting after our regular meeting on Monday. Wanted to give kudos to Rich for giving an update on the upcoming municipal elections, and also to Clancy for giving a legislative items of concern update and mentioning our upcoming legislative summit in early November. Was also able to make a sales tax presentation as mentioned, and thought that was educational and impactful for everybody on that group, and they passed on that information to everybody within their agencies, of course. And as usual, as mentioned too, good to get an update from all the local jurisdictions and see what they're working on and how things are progressing. Tuesday afternoon, listen to a webinar hosted by NACO. It was information from the U.S. Treasury's Emergency Rental Assistance Program and the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. Well, that's longer than it needs to be too, I think. Emergency Housing Vouchers Program. Discussion centered around how these programs are serving as a valuable resource to help many rural Americans, including landlords and tenants, help pay rent, mortgages, those sort of things, and basically keep them from being in a possible homeless type scenario. There was also dialogue from the USDA and several other Treasury and HUD officials were on that webinar, explaining how they're working to implement and amplify these resources and get them spread out. We also heard from the National Council of State Housing Agencies, it's a long one, and other local government officials from around the nation on how they're getting these resources and adapting and using them. Also later Tuesday afternoon, I have my monthly Zoom call with the Board of Directors from Pawnee Mental Health. Got an update on the monthly financials during the Finance Committee meeting. County of the month this month was Marshall County. Had an executive session on some confidential data, some other personnel related data stuff. Got an executive director's report from Robin Cole, a program report and can't talk this morning, from Human Resource Director Craig Poe. And he also gave us the results of a recent employee engagement and satisfaction survey. Some other items of business were approval of an executive director's evaluation tool that we'll be using, and discussion on possible locations and hybrid type of meetings moving forward, both for monthly meetings and some of the other events and stuff that planned. And then Di Hendricks gave us an update on Driving the Dream. That event's on November 4th. Be expecting an invite probably via email at some point in time, or something in the mail, depending on how that works out. So sounds like yesterday was kind of a struggle here, as I mentioned on the outset, because of internet and phone issues due to Cox Communications. I think I'd be remiss if I didn't make an example out of this and say this is a very good reason why we need better technological infrastructure, wireless and broadband. It's a great example. Not a big, huge fan of Cox Communications. I've had them for years and really like to see everybody be able to have some alternate things there. So like I said, I wanted to take a moment to put that one in there this morning. So, and on that note, I guess we can move on to some business, Rich.
First item I have, I need a motion to sign a letter of support for Big Lakes Developmental Center, Inc. for a Kdot application for transportation assistance project for July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023.
I have a question. Maybe you remember, didn't we do some extra money for them in budget for transportation? Wasn't that a big?
That's all we do for them is
Yeah.
transportation.
So they need more than that, apparently.
Yeah, I think this is for some other day services on top of that. This funds the buses that they have. I don't remember how many they have, 3, 4.
And it's for replacement.
Replacement.
It's
Yeah,
just a
it
bus.
says replace
Yeah.
one of the buses.
I'm sure what we give them doesn't give them enough to replace bus, because those things are expensive.
Yeah.
What is that working with ATA to redo? Or they always have a bus.
That's a different setup.
Different kind
Yeah.
of setup. Yeah.
For their services and their clientele, they have some other needs when it comes to transportation. I don't think ATA can,
ATA buses.
facilitate, not easily anyway, so.
Well, they usually have an extra bus that they retire. Okay, well, that answers that. So,
I'd move to sign the letter of support for Big Lakes with a KDOT application for transportation assistance project.
It's rubbing off,
Contagious.
isn't it? Put a block up quick.
I would second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded on letter of support for Big Lakes Developmental Center and their LKDOT grant. All those in favor?
Aye.
All 3 signed, please.
Giving too many presentations here late. That's what it is.
Oh, it's Thursdays. I'm
And
talking a lot.
I'm 2 weeks into a new age, so it's, it's catching up with me.
Yeah, that's
Residual.
probably what happens.
Where you haven't seen anything yet. I don't have good news for you.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting good news either.
You're gonna really love the 60s.
We're not talking about the date, I'm assuming there either. Huh?
Next, I need a motion to approve Big Lakes Developmental Center 2022 budget agreement for services appropriation of funds.
I'm trying to remember, why did we do this one?
It's something on their end that they want us to do as an appropriation, so
Okay,
kind of like we do for extension.
right, there's a couple of we do this,
Yeah.
for, I was just trying to remember.
We don't do it for all appropriation, but certain ones have requirements.
I just want to, it's just their version of
Mhm.
what this is set up.
Now, we do have to do something like that for extension and indigent defense panel. I'm missing another one somewhere in there. Anyway,
I'd move to approve the request for the budget agreement, 2022 budget agreement.
I would second that.
okay, it's been moved in second on Big Lakes Developmental Center's 2022 budget agreement for services and appropriation of funds. All those in favor?
Aye.
All three sign, please.
Oh, boy, that's a stack over there.
You
Yeah.
just now
Just now
noticed
I
saw
that?
just, well, the coffee cup got moved out of the way there and it just caught
Most of
my
them
eye.
are yours.
It's barely all fit in my case this morning.
Well, I hope my being able to talk doesn't include handwriting this morning. We're in real trouble, guys.
Sam?
Handwriting is the last to go. I think.
Okay. Have something to look forward to then. Oh, it looks like they're all during Clancy's time. I make a motion.
Just takes two.
What are you gonna make a motion for?
I don't have to sign nothing this morning.
Could have taken an ugly turn.
Next I need a motion to approve Riley County Shared Leave Request Form.
So how does this work? This is one of the first ones I've seen.
Shared leave is when an employee is low on leave and due to a medical or family circumstance, they're requesting shared leave from other employees who have it to donate. This has been a topic I've brought up for 1.5 or 2 years. We used to have a lot of leave available because we had a lot of long-term employees. You guys are well aware of, many of them have retired. This program will soon be defunct and won't be a benefit to all employees. I was never a supporter of this program in the beginning. But not all employees are going to be able to get the same benefit because there's fewer and fewer employees that have a large volume of leave to donate that doesn't impact them.
So that was, I mean, if somebody had stacked up a lot of leave, they could donate. to the
Uh-huh.
fund.
Yeah, they have a lot of ESL, in our personnel policies, for ESL for long-term employees, they get a payout of it, but only prorated so much. So if it's over that proration, then they're comfortable donating that
They actually
time.
done that.
And so, the benefit is generally those are higher paid employees. They've been here a long time and they're donating that time, which is time off for someone that isn't as highly paid hourly. And so it's been a program that's been in effect. I don't know how long, but I brought it up at department head meetings several times that this system is really defunct because it's no longer going to be.
There's not a stack time left in there.
I think the other point with that too is over the last year and a half, people have had to use some of their ESL for COVID related stuff,
Yeah.
quarantine, taking care of household members, et cetera, so that time is even less and less. So, yeah, probably on the right path there.
Yeah, and someone with extended illness probably would be eligible for disability benefits, is that?
Well, it's usually not that serious of an illness,
Okay.
it's not for something that's, work comp related or, something where they do have a disability. It's just because of an illness or a family member that needs taken care of or something like that.
Well, I'd go ahead, I guess, well, it's still in place. We'll go
Yeah,
ahead
it's still in
and
place. No, it's still a valid policy.
Okay,
I'm just letting you know that it may be coming to an end at some point in time. And since Catherine had asked the question.
Yeah, I
That's
hadn't seen this.
We had a couple employees in 19 that were out for quite some time, and a lot of people use leave.
It was really a huge benefit. We've had a couple employees that went through cancer in the last 5 to 10 years, and it was a huge benefit, and everyone really enjoyed being able to give it to them, because without it, they would have been in dire straits. But that's also what really drained a lot of people's pools. And like I said, those department heads that recently retired were big donors to a lot of those, and longer term employees, and their pools are getting lowered. And so it's going to be a benefit that's not going to be available soon to a lot of people, to anyone.
Did you make a motion?
I move to approve the Riley County shared leave request.
I would second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded on the Riley County shared leave request form. All those in favor?
Aye.
All
Thank you
three
for
sign,
that.
please.
Thanks for that explanation.
You're welcome.
Some places where they have that policy, you use it or you lose it. So if you're not going to use it, give it to somebody else that provides it.
And that's a good with ours. We don't lose it.
Yeah,
Employees don't lose it. If they don't use their annual at a certain rate, then it rolls over to their ESL.
Some places do, some places don't. So
Yeah, like my son's, his is use it or lose it.
yeah,
when he
mine
works
is
here
too.
in town.
Mine is too.
Now is that reimbursable when they retire, or?
Yeah, the ESL is at a prorated, and our personnel policies, it says if you have this many hours of ESL, you'll get paid for this many. So it's not the full one-on-one on ESL. For annual leave, it is full
Mhm.
payout, but for ESL, it is not. It's a prorated schedule.
Okay.
And it's actually part of, I know it's very thick when you go through it, but of the
Yes.
audit report, the auditors report in there our total potential liability for annual leave and ESL if it were to be paid out.
But this
It
next
is
year,
in the
that'll be
audit
shorter.
report each year.
It's going to be a lot shorter.
Next, Commissioners, I have one addition to the business meeting that is not in your packets. We just received it this morning. It's a letter to Major General USAF retired Todd Bunting. It is for the Service Member Agricultural Vocation Educational Corp. SAVE application entitled Training Center Building. Clancy has more information on this than I do.
Barely more than that.
Well, I can probably fill in because it came to me first. So
But it's similar to a letter the board approved for the same type of program back in March, the Save Farm. And it's just a letter of support. And it seems a worthwhile endeavor to the board. Doesn't commit the county to anything.
Yeah, there's no cost to the county. It's just a letter of support.
Representative Mike Dodson sent me that letter earlier in the week, and because of email and internet was down yesterday, I couldn't get back to him right away on it. So basically, they're using the same channel of funding, the same apparatus for funding, but they're getting ARPA funds through it this time to do basically the same thing as we did in March. So just
And I think it has to be done by next week or something. So-
actually, the application's due today.
So that's why we
Yeah.
couldn't wait
Yeah.
to put it on the next one and get it on.
Yeah.
So
We found out yesterday.
Yeah.
we try not to do that, but sometimes these situations come up.
Well, first one we signed came up the same way.
Yeah.
They didn't get to
Trend.
it until it was. Now I'd move to approve the letter. Approval letter or and
Letter of support.
letter of
Uh-huh.
support. for
Yep.
SAFE.
I would second that.
It's been moved and seconded on a letter of support for grant funding approval for the SAFE program. All those in favor?
All three signed, please.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for doing that quickly.
Yeah.
there are three.
Yeah, those tabs get on top of each other and make it hard to see.
I missed it too.
I haven't gotten it yet.
Oh.
John missed all three.
I was looking
Now that you
over.
pointed out, John missed all three.
Okay. I was looking
I don't have a real good reach, so it's kind of hard.
You want me to airmail it to you?
Yeah, that'll work.
Sorry.
Wait till the fan blade
Grinding
comes
over
back
here.
around and let it spin. Actually, you missed a signature on the last one.
Did I really?
I'll send it back.
Okay. Thought it was one page.
Ready for the minutes when the board is?
Okay.
Oh, maybe.
Everybody ready to go with the minutes?
Yes.
Okay. And we'll start with page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. Lastly, page 6. Pretty short meeting on Monday, right?
I make a motion to accept the minutes as presented for September 27th, 2021.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded on approval of the minutes from the September 27th, 2021 BOCC meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
And the tentative agendas, commissioners?
Let me get back to them here. I think I had one question on Monday, and I'm trying to remember what it was now. I think it was during the press conference. Are we shifting some things around on that? Yes, we are. Okay, that works.
Okay, any items for next week's press conference? I'll be on there for elections. Okay. Here in 2.5, 2 minutes is Mr. Holman.
Go ahead, Clancy.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Clancy Holman, Rounds County Counselor. First of the items I have in front of you today is the Widow Bryan's professional service agreement with Riley County. This has been discussed a couple of times during previous project updates. Widow Bryan is the same consultant that county staff worked with and brought you back information on during the distribution of the funds under the previous federal program, the CARES Act. Now we're in the second of those federal programs. This one is called the American Rescue Plan Act, and different series of funds, different purpose, really, in terms of the focus of the funding. And it will be very helpful to have this consultant on board to do the same kind of thing they did last year. It was money well spent. The county staff believes this time, as the fiscal impact indicates, it's a 1-year contract with 2 1-year options. The contract is a product of negotiations with the consultant. They were very amenable to those changes we wanted to make and accepted them. Had good discussions with them about that. In my opinion, it's a good agreement. The potential cost is $150,000 through that first year. I doubt that we'll get there, but it's possible. And as the CAR points out, there are provisions in the agreement for additional expenses, travel, that kind of thing. I don't know that that's really going to be necessary, but it's smart to plug that in so that the parties know what kind of cost is going to be incurred if they do need to travel to some site or something. I just don't see that happening, but we'll find out as we get into this. Be glad to answer any questions you've got on the agreement.
Do these charges go back into being funded by the ARPA fund?
I
They
think
do.
They do. Yeah,
They do.
Okay.
Same with the first time. They do.
That's what we did with CARES.
Yeah, the CARES as well. It's paid through federal funds, not ad valorem tax through these ARPA funds where we paid from. But also our agreement last time was up to 130, 150, and we spent just over 30. So it's not like they know what the contract is. They only charge us for the services they provide.
Yeah, I
I
thought
got
that
the
was.
chart in there. for the list.
And based on the millions that we received, it is a very minute percentage of that.
True. And we will be able to track it as we go forward because there'll be monthly bills. So it won't be a mystery how much it's costing as we go forward.
You said there were a few changes. There were changes from the last year's agreement. You said something about minor changes.
Well, there always are a little bit. This was not a carbon copy of what they gave us last year. And so we had to plug in some provisions that we made sure we wanted to be very clear about what the purpose is. And because I'm sure some agencies, some local governments perhaps are using them in a different way. We wanted to make sure we highlighted, we need regular contact when we need it with the committee that's looking at distributing these funds so that we can know whether or not something is a marginal use of the funds. What's the risk of this kind of project, or is it perfectly square within the federal requirements? We need that kind of expertise. So we plugged that in. We plugged in our usual language on things like cash basis and the ability to terminate, and what's going to happen if we do need to terminate the agreement. But they were very good. They had a couple of questions. They wanted to plug in something involving a state statute that doesn't apply to us. We pointed that out and took it out of the contract.
So really, the changes were really just to make it more like last year's.
Not so much like last year. The idea was,
Just because you've done one and you kind of know more what's going on with them.
well, and a lot of the changes that we made are changes we asked for in about any contract. There are things that normally would be in our contractual provisions attachment. Not all of that applied, so we didn't plug in all those things. But for a professional services agreement, very often it's kind of a scaled down version of that contractual provisions attachment that you might see for a construction contract. Those are going to be more detailed, things that are putting in actual infrastructure. When you're getting a professional service, a lot of times you can pare that down and zero in on those things that are most important: cost, control of the work, that kind of thing. What are you going to get in the way of documentation? What happens if the professional, these people are working nationwide? What happens if they decide they're going to sell their assets and turn it over to another, get gobbled up by some other company doing the same or similar thing? Well, we have provisions in there that they need to tell us about that. They need to work with us to make sure we get credit by their successor. Their contractual responsibility doesn't go away at that point. They still have to do somehow, even if they've been gobbled up by some other company. That company then has to do what they said they were going to do for us during the contract. And we want to make sure that we're going to get credit for payments we've made, and that with O'Brien, if they're being gobbled up by somebody else, and they'll like that technical term, that they're going to cooperate to make sure, help us show their new owner that we've paid a certain amount, and we expect certain things in the contract. That's a good question, but that's the purpose, really. Not so much to make it mirror the other agreement, but just to address those concerns that we think are reasonable.
And this company is very knowledgeable on this. They were first contract. Sedgwick County was the only other one in Kansas that contracted with them before we did. They're nationwide. And so they deal with this on many levels, many different sizes of local governments are even contracted with NACO in the state of Kansas as well. And so they know this stuff inside and out. It's very beneficial when we get requests that, especially the first time, since all the money came to the county, we just didn't want people to think the county was keeping it just because, and so it's nice to have that third party give their professional opinion. And actually, if you don't do this stuff right, it can have negative impacts for possible grant applications in the future. So,
I think the other thing with Widow O'Brien's too is they've been doing this long enough to know where other grants, other pools of money are. So if we're going to use this for something else, they may be like, well, no, actually, you might be able to do this instead and use this in a different manner. So they're 3, 4, 5 steps ahead of everybody in some of these processes. So.
yeah, on that, John, that's one way they were very beneficial the first time is we said, well, Kansas State's applied for this through the county, or this entity has through the county. They said, well, hold on, they're getting this money through a different source for that very thing. And so they were very helpful in identifying those that we had no idea about.
Yeah.
That monies that went directly to different institutions. And so that was one way they were very beneficial last time.
Yeah.
That's true. That coordination of knowing what's available and knowing what somebody's already got, which
Uh-huh.
even the applicant may not be aware of. The person who's making the request us may not know, oh, you've got this pool of money that you could use for the same project. You already have it.
And they're tied in with the federal government. They say, oh, well, feds are about to approve this, and they'll be able to directly apply for that. And so it was very beneficial in those regards.
And that's effective today.
It is. In fact, we got our first
Meeting
meeting.
at 3.
That's right, today.
Talk about deadlines.
They're expecting us
Assuming you
to
sign the
approve this,
contract.
then I take it.
As you know, we're already getting requests.
Yes.
I move the board authorize the chairman to sign the agreement.
I would second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded on approval for professional service agreement with Witt O'Brien's LLC. All those in favor?
Aye.
Chairman, please.
Oh, this is your stack.
Bigger one coming.
Uh-oh.
I need that email, if I need to do hand exercises or, this here.
Physical therapy.
They do. Oh, that's another one of these weird setups here, isn't it? It's all right.
On this next one, you don't have anything to sign, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure
No.
that I wasn't missing something.
No, glad you asked. There's nothing to sign today.
Task order.
The next time. This is a totally different arrangement. This involves a situation it's really not asking you to sign anything today, but asking you basically to give permission for limited use of county location, Family and Child Resource Center to pour a concrete slab. And this is basically a cooperation with the Flint Hills Wellness Coalition. Debbie Ness is here from the coalition to answer any questions you got about the details of the project, although she's supplied quite a few documents that were very helpful and good narrative to give you background on this. What the Flint Hills Wellness Coalition is doing is working to put in place an outside walk-in cooler freezer so that food that is available for distribution later through that program will be secured. There's a spot out there at the health department, southwest corner, I think, of the building, going from memory, where this concrete pad could be poured. The reason I'm presenting it to you in this form is because just to take advantage of the good weather while it exists, saying that on a day that's probably going to rain off and on all day, but at least it's not snowing yet, not today. And so there is time to, probably a pretty good sized window actually to pour this concrete slab. But there's no reason, given the cost of that, and given all costs are going to be borne by the Flint Hills Wellness Coalition, no cost to the county, no liability to the county. My kind of agreement. And we're not going to own the county will not own the cooler itself. That will be owned by the Flint Hills Wellness coalition. The county's not gonna operate it, but what you're doing in a license agreement, which is what this contemplates, a license agreement to be signed within 14 days from today's date, which I'm confident we can get done, that will provide, much like we do for Concept, Dental. That's a license agreement. We've had in the past other organizations within that building that are using county space, but we don't do a lease, we do a license agreement because that gives a far more limited right to the property to occupy that space to the other outside entity. It gives the county, we're not doing that to be cruel, we're doing it to protect the county space because that is space that's available for county operations. And it allows you to, basically a license is really what's known as a permission to trespass, because that's how limited the right is. But it's in writing, usually gives about a 30-day out for the party. That's normally what we do. We can negotiate something a little bit longer. If somebody wants 40 to 45 days, we've done that in the past. But the whole idea is simply to promote what is being presented as a useful program, something that's worth supporting, using space that's not going to interfere with county operations, and that the health department supports. The Public Works has had an opportunity to examine the site. They've been out there with Ms. Nuss and saw what was contemplated, had an opportunity to see the documents that are attached to the car. So Public Works is okay with it. The health department's all right with it. It's about $3,600 or so, as I understand it, for the concrete floor, thereabouts, again, going from memory. So minimal financial risk, even in worst case scenario. What you could end up with, worst case scenario, is the pouring of that concrete slab, and then it turns out for whatever reason, the freezer doesn't get delivered. Who knows? You know, anything is possible in contractual arrangement, of course. Any of that happens, the most that the county would have to do is either remove or learn to live with a concrete slab there at the southwest corner of the building. So, given the fact minimal risks, even in the short term, that's why I'm asking for approval in principle. Basically, your permission to the Flint Hills Wellness Coalition to go ahead and get started on that concrete slab. And during that, those 14 days, I'll put together and work with Ms. Nuss on getting a license agreement with all those terms that are described in the call. Be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Yeah, I do have a couple. Is that going, the freezer refrigerator going to be attached to the concrete?
I don't know the actual details. You might want to come up. I don't want to guess.
Good morning, Commissioners. Debbie Ness, Chair of the Flint Hills Wellness Coalition. Yes, the unit will be attached permanently, well, not permanently, but secured to the concrete slab. And just to note, there is currently a concrete slab at the southwest corner of that building where there's kind of a gazebo type structure that's hasn't been used in a long time, basically. I mean, I would say that it's neglected. You know, I don't know.
Julie Gibbs, to match what you're saying, basically described it as ready to fall down.
Okay, well, I was not willing to characterize it because I thought maybe somebody had a fondness for it. But anyway, so it's essentially, that's why we identified that location, because it was currently had a concrete slab and replacing it. The slab will be a bit bigger. Should require any removal of the trees that are there. Some tree limbs may have to be raised. But all the various contractors have said that they would work with us to take care of that. The unit will be locked,
Okay.
and then there will be security lighting, motion detector light. There's a light at the southwest corner of the building already, that apparently the bulb's out. But the electric company said that they would take care of replacing that, so it'll be a secure location there.
What about liability? If there's vandalism and someone comes and just really messes it up, do you cover the liability insurance on that?
Well, since it's going to be our property, it's going to be our responsibility.
Okay.
So yes, yeah,
That's what I was wondering.
and just so you know, going ahead, management of the unit will be through the Food and Farm Council. Their efforts in terms of food recovery. So Vicki James, she's in the process of writing a grant, I believe, to the Pine Foundation to hire a coordinator that would then work with the various entities in the community, Common Table, Manhattan Soup Kitchen, the various restaurants that have food that they would like to donate. And then that would all get managed through that unit, through the Food and Farm Council's coordinator.
Oh, good. Yeah, and I believe.
So there'll be
it's-
various memorandums of agreement between the coalition and the Food and Farm Council and the Food and Farm Council and other entities. But it'll still be the property of the wellness coalition.
Is that-
Vicky's planning on coming in at some point in time towards the end of the year when all this gets done and give a full explanation, description, and explanation of everything, so.
And I feel like I need to, so we had contacted contractors in the spring about pouring concrete. And because of all the projects they had over the summer and timing, they just kept telling me no, 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 no. And finally they told me yes. And the window they had was then this part of October. Well, I couldn't order a unit until I knew that concrete could be poured. And so now the lead time though on ordering a unit could be 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay,
But the first step is to get the concrete pad, basically, so,
I think it's great, you know,
Okay.
Common Table's been looking for that for a long time. and-
absolutely.
And I think that the K-State training table is gonna start doing some recovery, you know, letting us recover. That's a lot of food, so.
Well,
Yeah,
we
great, thanks.
we tried to identify some other locations, and this just seems to be the easiest spot for a variety of reasons, so.
And it's not for just one group, it's for all the different
Right, it's
food groups,
partnerships,
as I'm calling it.
right, it's the various partnerships in the community, yeah,
A lot of them be able to use that.
yeah.
It's good.
I'm surprised it's a 3 weeks delivery. Everybody,
yeah, it's-
everything you ask for right now, the deliveries are months away.
Well, it could be longer, but like I said, the concrete getting poured was the
Well,
biggest
yeah,
challenge.
immediate.
Yeah, so after they got all their school district projects done,
No.
I think they finally were having some breathing room, so.
Yeah, this particular unit doesn't require a chip.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of time off of it currently, yeah.
And we are using all local contractors that the county's used before, so Thermal Comfort Air, Economy Electric, and VHS Construction, so they're all very familiar with the site. And familiar with.
Works for me.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Get a motion?
Motion to allow them to proceed with the installation of concrete slab of the FCRC.
I would second that.
It's been moved and seconded on approval and a principal license agreement signed by the Flint Hills Wellness Coalition for permission from the BOC to proceed with pouring of a concrete slab at the Riley County Health Department Family and Child Resource Center. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will point out too, the one thing I'd like to mention, there will be some ongoing expense for the county, but that's only once this is installed, is for the electricity for the
Yeah, we're good.
monthly. bills.
Yeah.
Seems pretty negligible.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Debbie.
Meeting time getting to the next cards. We put all this paper.
That's a lot.
There it is.
Next one to sign later.
Next one before you is basically just an amendment of the existing contract. Could be worse in terms of documents to sign. This is a contract on radio traffic. A little bit larger than most of those that you see, you know, on the construction project. And these documents only amend one tab within this, the master services agreement. But it's a key part of the contract, given there were a couple issues with generators at a couple sites, but the parties worked it out and got it resolved in a way that's acceptable to Russell Stuckey of Emergency Management. And it's ready to be signed, basically to memorialize those changes that account for making sure those generators, those two generators will be resolved. It was, I will say too, it was disappointing to the contractor as well. It may have been a manufacturing problem with those two items. I don't know how they finally resolved it, but they stood by the fact that these are going to be taken care of. So, and last, when I spoke to Russell last, currently they're working fine. So there was some difficulty, I think, getting some manufacturers rep even out to the property, just given the times. So Unless you have questions, I would just ask that you approve those documents. They will further amend this contract. It will continue to move forward in the next several years.
I know generators. So City of Riley's got their project, their process. They have 2 generators supplied for it, and the contractor's saying, I don't know when we'll get it. So, and they showed the thing that's when they've ordered, and they keep getting back from generator people. Well, it's still delayed. It's still delayed. So that seems to be one of the areas hit.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I moved to, move the board approve the documents that's submitted.
I would second that.
Been moved to second and approval of final contract documents for countywide upgrade of emergency radio communication system. All those in favor? Aye.
Chairman, please.
My hand's broken. I think we need to do a stamp.
Always comes.
I'm keeping up on it.
The chairman always wants this.
Actually, most of these are for Rich. Okay, never mind.
No, disappointing.
Commissioners, Johnny Levin, Public Works. My first, it looks like the first thing on the list is a local road safety plan. An agreement with Kdot to form a study on county roads, mainly the major collectors and all the asphalt roads outside of residential neighborhoods, to kind of take an overall look at safety of the roads, do full accident reports, drive the roads, gather the data, put together some information on systemic improvements to help safety. So by the end of the study phase, they'll give us a document showing us a list of priority roads or high priority roads that we, and on down what probably needs some safety attention and how to do it systematically throughout our system. Minor things, maybe add a little bit to a shoulder, signage on curves, stuff like that. Not necessarily have to do all these things on the list in a certain time frame, but they're there that we can do as we have funds available or grant funds come up to do those type of projects. Without the local road safety plan, KDOT we will not be able qualified to receive high-risk rural road grants. So, and those type of grants I've seen in the past used for update signage, striping on roadways, and some other of those overall approaches to safety. So it does come as a 90-10 split, local match, with our share being $5,265.33. It's typical from what they've been doing throughout the state. They're trying to get all 105 counties on board with this. We are some of the last 40, 50 counties left. I think one more year of this program, and that was all they were going to do. So if you're after that, you want a safety plan or some of those other grants, you have to pay for the whole amount yourself.
I was wondering how have they already got a contractor lined up for it? Yeah, is that,
They had a couple of them that predid, this has started 4 years ago.
I remember just talking about this about 2 years ago. And we didn't know the final details of the plan or what the split was going to be at that time, so we didn't proceed.
Finney County, actually, they were just starting to do the study when I left Finney County. So they've been doing these for the last 3 or 4 years. Butler County, Pearson County, and then one other were the pilot programs to get this started. And they were trying to do about 20 counties a year for 4 or 5 year program.
How long does it take? You know,
They had a time
is there a time?
frame in here. We probably would see it go within a year. I'm
It's
guessing
270 days.
Well, yeah.
It might be
they-
sooner here because they actually have a Kdot office here in which they can work from.
I can't remember the consultant. I'm not even sure.
One of those attachments, I'm assuming that's who.
Yeah, there's you on that discussion. That's what you said. That's all I had.
If they've already started, have we outlaid any money to date, or
We have not, they haven't started on.
they haven't started in Riley County yet?
And they won't until they get their match. And we have 60 days of your agreeing to pay our match.
We have to pay this up front.
We'll pay our match up front this week. Yeah. Trans System is the lead consultant that'll be doing these studies.
Sounds like it's needed. You know, it's a good idea to have somebody
I would
look
say
everything over and see what's needed.
Doesn't hurt. And for sure, it helps us get some grants later on
Yeah,
in the future.
keeps us
If
in
nothing
line.
else, it secures money
I think
later.
we have
Keeps us in
several
line.
key safety issues, particularly along that 24 corridor going up north. This will help.
This
We'll kind of
wouldn't be
detail
for
that.
KDOT system, it would be on county
Or
roads.
county.
County roads.
We have county roads that lead off of that.
Yes.
Right.
yes.
That's, yeah.
And on the maps, they're talking about the roads that are marked in red, correct? There were reds and blues and cities and all sorts of things in there. So it's-
And so, yeah, all the roads there in red will be the roads that they will look at.
Okay, so they're not doing anything in the city per se.
This is for
Just the
county.
roads that lead out.
County,
Okay, just the county.
the city.
Now, keep in mind several of those roads, including Anderson and some other one that leads into the city. So
Mhm.
it has an impact, but it's just not direct. Down Creek.
And there's several that are touching right on 24, John.
Yeah,
So the mainly major roads. Okay.
Yeah, all the major roads and asphalt are the paved roads in the county,
Okay.
not necessarily township roads, but county roads. And if they're gravel, they're
No.
not gonna look at the gravel.
need a motion.
I'd move. I'd move to approve the local local road safety plan.
I would second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded on KDOT's local road safety plan. All those in favor?
All three, please.
And my second item, I kind of teased you with equipment operator. I meant to change the title when I changed the rest of the document to mechanic technician 2. If you remember a few weeks ago, a week ago, you approved an in-house employee to step up to the supervisor position when the supervisor retires. His position is now open, and I'm requesting to go ahead and start advertising to fill that position. Going into winter, if we can find somebody, we would really probably benefit from them before winter really kicks in.
Are you going just in-house first, or are you gonna go in-house in?
I want to go in-house now.
Okay,
I'm not sure if there's somebody in-house, I'd be happy to look at them. I'd like to go outside too, right?
okay, no, that makes sense.
We take care of all of our equipment, all the fleet that all the other departments use, the ambulance and the fire.
So is there any questions? Nothing? Is require a motion.
I move to approve Public Works advertised to hire the mechanic technician to position.
I would second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded on a request to fulfill an open mechanics 2 position in Public Works. All those in favor?
Aye.
All
Three
three
sign, please. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, commissioners, you have Craig Cox at 9:50.
Okay. You want one for the file, and then obviously one to put with the endorsement package. I didn't. You. You're on there. Yeah, you should have gotten it. Okay. If you don't, let me know and I'll keep it. Get back to you. Good. Thank you. Thank you.
Days and times or your, when you're gonna do your presentation.
One of them is at the Westwood Business Association, which is on the 6th, that's Wednesday. Yeah. They meet at 2.
Two.
I'm not sure what time in there. And the other one I haven't got quite situated.
When you do,
The other one's in Keats.
okay, send me an email
Okay.
and I will make sure I try to get there as best I can. I'll move
That would
stuff around
help,
to get
yeah.
there.
Okay,
I wanna
yeah,
make sure
the
I
other
do.
ones is at Keats, and I just have to return a call to him to get it finalized. So,
I saw a couple that your name were on, but they didn't have a location
yeah.
or a
they're-
time necessarily, so.
Well, and I hadn't got back to her on those, the actual times, so.
Okay.
So,
But for sure, let me know,
yeah,
and then I will
okay,
try to make arrangements the best I can to get there too.
yeah, I'll send you the thing on the, well, as soon as I talk, I'm just gonna go give him a quick call and finalize that one in Keats, so. I'm thinking Keats, it's a Lions Club, but I'm hoping we can do it at the community center and have it for everybody, rather than just the Lions, but, that's.
Well, yeah, a lot of, yeah, I don't know.
It depends on him if he wants to open it up. So,
Yeah, they may not with their regular meeting stuff, but
yeah, we'll see.
at least if you get in front of them, that'd be.
That'd be
Good
good,
group to
yeah,
use.
because, word really spreads in that community very quickly.
Hello.
Okay,
How are you, sir? How are you? Good.
Craig, we got a minute. I'll let the motion for the executive session in the chair.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Morning, how are you?
Keep
Pretty
on.
good.
Yeah.
You getting any more rain out there this morning?
Little bit.
All right,
Needed it.
we need it. Yes, we
You
did.
bet.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
They said, let me know if you need me to forward that back over to you.
Will do.
Okay,
I think I'll take care of
okay.
Well, Lynn, how you doing?
Okay.
Sorry.
Hello.
raining out there?
Hey, John. Are you getting ready to leave? No. Yeah, come on. Let's go. All right.
Well, I mean, so, going back to this analysis when I was over like, football was expected to go back to some notes. You know, the resolution, these two resolutions, one which is a vacation, and the other one which is creating a new right of way. You know, that they need to be filed with the register of deeds. Part of that is at times requiring that, you know, for his title exams. Okay. And so, quick, oh, well, I mean, we're in the process, the documents to the clerk's office and that won't take too long. But the vacation resolution is 3 pages, and for the first page is 21 and $17 for a second page is then 55, and then for the toleration is only 2, so that's 30, so it's 25, 30. So I need to pay that. Well, when we take them and get filed, so we'll you know, they're going to pass them. The clerk's office has to sign a resolution number. That's not done immediately. And so, and I'm leaving. I'm out of the office about 1 o'clock. I'm back to Tuesday morning. But we can file on Tuesday morning. That would be fine. There's no mess. You'd rather get them filed tomorrow. Okay, so after we get this done, we'll go up to the office and make those arrangements. Okay, but you don't want to pay this. You know, pay this when we go in the following. So keep in mind when we do that, it's going to take them a day at least to get a file and back to us. You know, and then we can distribute copies to everybody. Well, I mean, it takes her a while to develop. Right, and so we can, we'll go upstairs, we'll call Sherry, and obviously we can get her a signed version quicker to secure and file with register of deeds. And she will like the sign first, and then we'll get that. Okay. I don't know what she needs to do. She won't post it. Well, but I don't know that. I mean, I think all she needs is the sign first. So we're checking with her this morning. Okay, okay. That's fine. All right.
How's that petition going?
I've got it drafted, and so I think we'll get it to them next week
Good,
to circulate.
good. Well, hopefully we get that done before the snow starts flying. I appreciate you working on that.
It doesn't exist. Somebody said it was somehow in the file. His name's maintaining those roads. There's no such document. Now, the county roads are either maintained by the county or the township. The check with John this morning.
Oh,
So, I mean, he has that form in his office that the township signed.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen that. John says he has that. You know, he said he'd locate that, but that's, I mean, I've never even heard of a form like that before, so.
Well, that was, I understand it, a requirement before the plat could be filed, so all three of the
That must be it.
Grant Township officers were out there and they signed.
The county has, has subdivision road standards.
So if they want that filed, which register of deeds, facility statement.
I'll talk with Todd.
And I told Todd that it existed, and so.
Okay. John told me he had that, and he didn't know where it was at, but he said he'd find it. That was the first I've known of a document like that, so. That must be according pursuant to the county's subdivision road standards. Not every county has those kind of standards. So,
You're up, Craig.
good morning, commissioners. I'm gonna go, I think, just about to the end of my minute track packet, because I think it's a better way to go through this morning. I'm almost there. I like this aerial photo, so we'll use this as a reference point. But first, Mr. Bleck's subdivision has been a project in progress since sometime last year. I want to say the fall of last year, we had our first meeting, maybe September, October, to look at the subdivision, and probably with the relocation of Thomas Ware Road, so it matches up with the internal subdivision road, that probably brings his subdivision to completion for purposes of what he needs. But I just want to make mention that it's been a project that has involved many county departments. And I just wanted to name off the departments that have been involved in getting this project done for Mr. Bleck. Public Works, the clerk, the appraiser, treasurer, register of deeds, and our office. So we've all pitched in to get this project done for Mr. Bleck. What we're doing today is, this is Thomas Ware Road right here. And the road it's a white line. The current road right of way is this white line that comes up over here. And as you can see, the internal road of the subdivision is right here, and the two don't match. And so the right of way of Thomas Ware Road needs to be moved to the east. And I must say at this point, I made reference in the resolution initially to the west, and that was caught by GIS yesterday. It's corrected in the originals you have now, so we have the right direction there, even though that direction is not part of any of the legal descriptions. But the right of way has to be moved to the east here to match up. And what we're gonna do is, let me go up here, is we're going to vacate that yellow portion of Thomas Ware Road, and this is the legal description of that portion to be vacated. Mr. Blackup bought this triangle piece. The triangle piece was bought for the sole purpose of relocating, realigning Thomas Ware Road to match up. That's going to be the new right of way there. He bought that from Fred Carlson. So on the vacated part of Thomas Ware Road, the two adjoining property owners are Mr. Blacka and Steve and Paula Thompson over here. And because Mr. Blacka's property line is right here, the vacated portion of Thomas Ware will revert back to the ownership of Steve Thompson. But Mr. Blacka and the Thompsons are the only two property owners that are joining this vacation. Because they both signed the petition to vacate, we didn't need to go through the notice process, which included publication in the paper, mailing of letters, because they signed off on approving this vacation. And the same thing really applied to relocating the right-of-way, in that Mr. Blacka, and he can sure talk, he can interrupt me now if I'm misquoting anything, because he's the developer, but he bought this triangular piece for the sole purpose of having the Thomas Ware right-of-way relocated so it would connect with the internal road. So he's the only property owner being affected by the petition to alter the right-of-way. But because the Thompsons were in the area, again, both the Thompsons and Mr. Blacka have signed off on that petition to alter the right-of-way, which again waived the need to do a newspaper publication and a mailing notice. So that's how we're here today. But that's what we're going to do. That's what we're asking the commission to do today. Is and then this is the legal description. Right here, I had it blown up because it's pretty tiny in the survey right here. But there's the survey of the additional right-of-way. Obviously, it picks up the old right-of-way. There is a viewing and survey requirement for both a vacation and an altering, which in the statute says can be done by the county surveyor, by the county commissioners, but the surveying was done by Schwab Eaton, and with the Schwab Eaton doing the survey, they did the viewing also, so that eliminated the need for the county commission and county staff to do that viewing and surveying. But with that procedure in place, we're here today asking the commission to vacate that yellow coded portion of Thomas Ware Road. That will then revert back to the Thompsons. And then in conjunction with that vacation, then we're going to make this new right-of-way for Thomas Ware Road. And by doing both of those together, we get the road moved from its current position to the east just enough to hook up with the internal subdivision road. Any questions?
If I remember correctly, the county was going to pave the road to the subdivision entrance. Is that correct?
It's been done.
It
Yeah.
has been done. So
That's been done. I mean,
how is that gonna,
It was made to the new alignment, I assume.
yeah, right.
Oh,
I mean, the road's actually already been moved to connect with the internal subdivision road, and it's been moved and it's been paved. We're just getting the legal paperwork caught up to that.
Okay.
And that's a good question, Commissioner. The paved part, and Mr. Blackie, correct me if I'm wrong, the paved part is from Highway 24 down here to the subdivision. And the county will maintain that because there's only one township in the county that maintains paved roads, and that's Manhattan Township, and this is not in Manhattan Township. And then, is it Grant Township or Wildcat?
It's Wildcat.
Wildcat has agreed to, the internal road right now is going to be a gravel road.
That is actually Grant. North of the line is Grant and south is what?
Okay, so this is Grant. Grant Township has agreed to maintain this gravel road inside the subdivision.
It's paved up till that point.
Right.
Okay.
And then
And then after a certain-
there was a prior agreement as part of the negotiations with Mr. Blecker early on in this project that the county agreed to go in with half the cost of getting getting Thomas Word paved from the highway to the subdivision line.
And there's some that, when so many lots are sold, they'll be paving the rest of the road, right?
Eventually, there is no formula per se of when that will happen, but that is the plan for that to be paid eventually, yes.
And then the upkeep, once it's paved, will stay with the township, not with the subdivision.
Probably not.
Right, special benefit district.
Be a benefit district then.
They'll pay special assessments for that.
In your packet, I have the sequences being vacating first and then altering the road waterway second. It probably doesn't make any difference as long as we just do them together. But that's the sequence I have prepared for the board, is to do the vacation first and then alter the road right away second.
It's all submitted in your packet as one motion. So
Okay.
if you just want to do it as one motion, it's fine.
Oh, okay, that's it, yeah. I move the board approve the resolution vacating a portion of Thomas Word Road and altering the remaining right of way.
I would second that.
Okay, it's been moved and second to alter Thomas Ware Road right away and vacate the portion of Thomas Ware Road. Following, all those in favor?
Aye.
Both, all three sign, please.
We'll say I'm just warming the commission up. We have a couple more vacations coming down the line, and so.
Vacations where?
Yeah, I wish. In Riley County.
Yeah.
Staycations.
Staycations.
It'd be all half for you here.
Now, considering this is a pretty important one, considering everything that's going on. And I think we started talking about this in summer last year.
But I knew it was the last half of the year sometime. I don't.
I think we had two separate conversations last year.
Yeah, been going on
I-
for more than a year.
Yeah.
I can safely say the first discussion I met with you, Leon was still the public works director, and now John's here, so that's the duration of time that I can tie it to.
That one of those fun things you had to catch up on, huh, John?
This one was pretty, I wouldn't say simple, but it was better than some of the others.
Arguments there. Arguments there. Little.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next commissioner, you have Julie Gibbs.
Now you just gotta start building, huh?
As long as there's not one more thing.
One more thing. But good luck. Yeah.
I hope so.
Have you sold lots out there? Do you know?
I don't think they've sold any yet, but this will be, this will go a long ways in helping that.
Yeah.
Oh, this, I think some of the hang up was this year.
Yeah. Somebody I had talked to originally thought about going out there themselves, but I don't know how they're gonna get in and out of there. Fire suppression. Their other concern.
A couple really nice lots. Good your house right there. That's what it looks like.
Thanks for getting that. So.
Oh, sure. No, thanks for asking. Send in the phone. Email.
Is Julie joining us in person or by Zoom?
There she is.
Right.
Right on cue.
1 minute to spare.
Or Julie.
Good morning.
Figure out how she does that. Well, she's going around to the podium.
I was just asking if you're going to be in person or Zoom and boom.
Yeah.
So if your ears were burning, that was me. I apologize. I guess while we're waiting here, I'll go ahead and make a motion that we recess as a Board of County Commission and reconvene as the Board of County Health.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Get us closer here. Okay, Julie.
All right, good morning
Good morning.
again. I'm back with another request to fill another position. So we did hire internally for Michelle Markvica's position as administrative assistant. Tasha Young was our Raising Riley clerk, or is our Raising Riley clerk, and she will start on Monday as the administrative assistant for us and admin. So we're happy to have her on board. She had great interview, great resume, and great recommendation from her supervisor. So, but now that leaves that position open in Raising Riley. So that is a full-time position, full-time clerk, very much needed for the Raising Riley program. There, she kind of manages that front area there in the first floor, and all of their applications that come through, answers the phone, does scheduling. So we are in need to fill that position. So questions on that?
It shows full-time and temporary are both X. Is that correct?
It's full-time, not temporary.
Okay, so we need to uncheck that one.
Kind of hard to do, but
Yeah.
About that. I'm glad you got that. And we do want to open this up internally for the first 7 days, see if we get any applicants and then.
No changes in the position itself?
No.
All standard, okay.
And this position, is that that's going forward into the 22 budget?
Yeah, it's already budgeted.
It's already budgeted. Let me X that one.
Move to approve. Pardon me, the Board of Health. I move to approve the request to fill the full-time clerk position for Raising Riley.
I would second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded on request to fill a position in the Raising Riley clerk in the Riley County Health Department. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All three, please.
Next, commissioners, you have Pine City, 1010.
Slide over the motion.
I got it.
Just wanna make sure it's a short one.
Go ahead and make a motion that we recess as the Board of County Health and reconvene as the Board of County Commission.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, next we're going Clancy.
Probably 15 minutes. Okay. Let's do 20. So we don't have to go out and come back.
Let's do a half hour.
All right.
Let's make it a full half hour.
Oh, dear.
If I have time left over than not.
Okay.
You're starting all over from scratch, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Is it Board of Commissioners?
Board of County Commissioners.
Well, while he's doing that, I'll go ahead and make a motion then that, unless you had anything else first. I didn't think so. Make a motion that the county commission, including Chairman Ford, Commissioner McKinley, and Commissioner BOCC recess into executive session. One, for the purpose of a consultation with Clancy Holman, attorney for the commission, on a matter which is deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship, an exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act, the open meeting to resume in the county commission chamber at 10:40 a.m.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded on the motion. All those in favor? Aye.
That's fine. Does that look good again before I go for the executive session?
Works. Your luck. Okay. I'll move that the Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Also move that the record reflect action shall be taken with consensus reached in executive session. Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And according to my agenda, that was the last item for the morning. Anybody else have anything else? I know you do.
That's all I have. So, John. have
You always
done all
start
your-
with me.
Have you done all your research?
I've done all my research except for one item, and it's the biggest one of all. And it's who plays quarterback on Saturday.
I think there's two big items, but yeah,
Yeah.
does the defense decide to play the whole game?
Yeah, I think they show up just because. Spread's 10, but I thought knowing who's gonna play quarterback, and I don't think it's gonna be Skylar Thompson. I can't pull the trigger. So I'm gonna go OU 31, K-State 37.
37.
Oh, 27, sorry.
Okay.
I'm off today.
I'm
just off.
tracking you. I just weren't sure.
I'm
you were
glad
tracking
somebody,
me.
I'm glad somebody's following along because I sure the hell ain't.
I got OU 28-14.
Catherine.
Kills me to say this. but
Yes, me too. Does me
OU
too.
45, K-State 21.
Clancy.
I'm gonna be the contrarian. I'm gonna say 24-18 K-State. I'm hoping for food poisoning at the team table.
I went 28-27 K-State. Thinking that Skylar Thompson's gonna play. If
I'm told he's not.
I don't think so.
My thoughts, I'm actually hoping he doesn't, because I want him hurt. I want him to have another 2 weeks and then, then we can wipe this part out of the season and start over again. in 2
Press
weeks.
conference, it was mentioned that it was not likely that he would play.
But
I'll take
there's
that at face
also
value.
coaches speak.
Well, that's true. That was a coach speaking. so.
yeah, I heard that as well. So
It's
It's
just
kinda
not comfortable with the other two in this particular game.
it's just kind of contrary to when they said he was warming up on the sidelines of OSU and
Yeah.
no one could see any ill effects. So
Yeah.
there's something going on.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I'll move to adjourn the October 7th meeting.
Can we make it September 30th?
Oh, I was looking.
I'm really rubbing off today too, aren't I?
I'm okay with that one as well.
Jump right ahead.
You would be, wouldn't you?
We've never had one adjourned prospectively.
How about, adjourn today's meeting?
Second that.
It's been moved and seconded on adjournment of the September 30th, 2021 Board of County Commission meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Everyone have a good weekend.
Yeah.
Okay.